Welcome to The Explainer. You know, today we're diving into something truly special. We're breaking down the sheer poetry, the raw, unfiltered emotion, and, of course, the historic numbers behind one of the most unbelievable phenomena in modern sports. We're talking about Kylian Mbappe's absolute dominance on the World Cup stage. But here's the catch. We aren't just rattling off stats today. We're actually looking at how his play literally forces broadcasters to completely change the way they speak. We're going to analyze the actual broadcast transcripts to see how pure greatness is described in real time. It's just a fascinating look into the language of sports broadcasting when a single player completely transcends the normal flow of a match. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's hook right into the intense passion of these commentators when they're reacting to absolute greatness on the pitch. I mean, when a broadcaster straight up shouts, "This football is from the heavens," they are totally breaking the mold of objective reporting. Usually commentators are tasked with just giving us the cold, hard facts of a game, right? But a player like Mbappe, he breaks that mold entirely. The broadcast team is driven to this almost spiritual reverence. So we're going to break down exactly what happens on the field that makes a professional broadcaster describe a sporting event as a literal gift from the heavens.
Section 1. The ultimate teenage kicks. Youth, energy, and changing the game.
The commentary coined this beautifully. Teenage kicks. It's that explosive, youthful catalyst. It's the spark that ignites these massive momentum shifts and creates completely unstoppable attacking sequences. When you look at the transcripts, the commentators are just repeatedly struck by how he injects this frantic, unstoppable pace into the game, constantly pushing the action forward. It's how the broadcasters playfully framed those crazy bursts of speed, where the defense, well, they quite simply just can't deal with his movement. It's this raw energy that gives France the lead and just completely overwhelms the opposition. Now, what's really interesting here is how the broadcasters perfectly capture this massive contrast. In one breath, they're describing the immense tension of an unpredictable seesaw game. It's tight, it's unpredictable, but in an instant, that tension is completely shattered as Mbappe pulls away, instantly turning a tight match into a 3-2 and then suddenly a 4-2 lead. The transcript captures this beautifully, noting how he just rips away from defenders, completely unaffected by the pressure. He literally just breaks that back and forth seesaw dynamic entirely.
Section 2. The French breakaway machine. Teamwork of the highest quality.
So when the commentators describe a French breakaway of the highest quality, this is the exact clinical precision they're talking about. It happens in an absolute flash. Step 1, Hernandez gets on the turn and spots Mbappe. Step 2, Griezmann picks it up and swirls it directly into the middle. And boom, the trap is sprung. Step 3, Mbappe finds the room and he uses it beautifully. This step-by-step breakdown from the broadcast really visualizes just how clinical and structured their attacks are right before that final chaotic burst of speed.
And when broadcasters note how star after French star combines all alone in front, it really drives the point home. Look, Mbappe is absolutely the devastating finishing focal point, for sure. But this magnificent play relies on an entire constellation of players working together. A brilliant cast of characters perfectly sets the stage. It's a massive collective effort that essentially culminates in this one moment of individual brilliance.
Section 3. Majestic and magical movement. Poetry in motion. Here, the language completely shifts to match the individual brilliance of Mbappe himself. He is the man who electrifies to gallop into the play. The exact moment he comes alive, breaking from being just a shadow to a sudden threat, the entire atmosphere of the game changes. His galloping movement injects an immediate, visceral surge of electricity right into the attack. He basically becomes a current of pure energy on the pitch. And when Mbappe gets the ball on the swivel, the commentators simply exclaim, "Wow!" They call it majestic. They call it magical. It's a sudden, transformative movement that leaves defenders completely lost, and it leaves the broadcasters grasping for deeper, more evocative words that honestly sound more like they belong in a fantasy novel than a sports recap. They don't just say he runs fast. They literally have to reach for magic to describe what they're witnessing on the field. A strike that, quote, oozes quality. Broadcasters note how he takes a massive defensive mistake by the opposition and immediately turns it into a sweet, magnificent strike. It is so perfectly executed that they describe him as being launched into a galaxy of his own. He is compelled, obliged to score, and he does it with just absolute, undeniable quality. Section 4. A historic goal count. The numbers behind the magic. Okay, we've spent a lot of time analyzing the soaring poetry and the emotional reactions in the commentary, right? But that language is actually backed up by cold, hard, historic data. 9.
Through purposeful play and relentless attacking, the commentary officially marked his 9th World Cup goal as a truly historic moment in the tournament. I mean, reaching 9 goals on this massive international stage is a monumental achievement, and the broadcast clearly recognizes the massive historic weight of that specific strike. But then we hit double digits. 10. 10 goals specifically in the World Cup knockout rounds. And listen, the context here is absolutely everything. Scoring 10 goals is amazing on its own, but scoring 10 goals when it's win or go home under the most immense pressure in the sport, that is legendary. It completely validates every single piece of poetic praise they've heaped upon him. So, this entire narrative arc climaxes with one definitive, purposeful statement from the booth. It's Mbappe who steps up and rolls the ball into the back of the net. Amidst all the tension, the electricity, the majestic movement, and those complex breakaway buildups, at the end of the day, it is simply him stepping up and finishing the job. It showcases his totally reliable, undeniable dominance on the pitch. We'll conclude this explainer with the broadcaster's own lingering question. Was it ever in doubt? Seriously, when you combine those explosive teenage kicks, the high-quality teamwork, and that magical, galloping movement that produces historic goal counts, the outcome feels completely inevitable. It leaves you reflecting on his sheer, undeniable greatness and, honestly, wondering, what kind of history will he make next? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope you found this breakdown of greatness as fascinating as I did.